This message is for single people. And I want to ask you a question. And I want you to be honest with me. Are you unhappy? Are you unhappy right now because you're single? I mean, just admit that. Be honest with yourself. I mean, maybe you have friends that are in relationships and maybe you feel kind of lonely and left out when you're hanging around them. Okay, I'm going to say this right here. Being single has a tremendous advantage. All right, an advantage that a lot of people don't realize, a lot of single people don't realize. And that advantage is that you have a chance to build character. And I'm going to talk about that right here in this video because that's important, because it's the only way you're going to find happiness. But I will say this. I'm going to say this for the record. You don't need to have a relationship in order to be happy. I'm going to say this again. You don't need to have a relationship in order to be happy. And being single does not mean unhappiness. Now, when people feel like they have to have a relationship in order to be happy, they don't find it. They don't find happiness. I'm going to tell you why. They feel that having a relationship is going to compensate for what they have for what they're lacking on the inside, I should say. If they're lacking something on the inside, they feel a relationship is going to save them. A relationship is only supposed to extend the happiness that you already have inside of yourself, not compensate for it. And a lot of people fall into that trap, because I'm going to tell you what happens. You have a person that's not content with what they see in the mirror every day. And they feel like, and this is natural, by the way, for a lot of people who have a little bit of insecurity, is that when they try to attract somebody in their life, thinking that that's going to compensate for their unhappiness, they find a person in their life and they feel happy for a little while, but then that wears off and they're right back to their usual insecure selves. So therefore, having a relationship makes people feel comfortable for a little while, makes them feel happy for a little while. But then it wears off after a while because they're not content with themselves. If you're not satisfied with that person that you see in the mirror every single day, a relationship is not going to save you. Now, with this in mind, you have all the power that you need right now to find happiness, being single. The advantage is that you have a chance to get to know yourself and express yourself. See, this is an opportunity right here that a lot of single people don't realize, is that you have a lot of freedom. You have a lot of time to get to know you. That person that you see in the mirror, get to know that person. And once you become more acquainted with that person, you want to find opportunities to express yourself. Self-expression is the key to happiness. Being yourself, being your authentic self, that's the key to happiness. So if you figured out the kind of person that you are, your real identity, express it. For instance, if you're the kind of person who loves serving people, who loves helping people, then put yourself in an environment where you're doing more of that. If you're the kind of person who loves learning and has a strong, curious mindset, then guess what? That's a part of your identity. Find opportunities where you're doing more of that. See, all these things build character. And when you're single, you have a lot of time to do all this. You have a lot of time to be connected with yourself. More free time than you would be if you was in a relationship with someone. Being in a relationship, of course, doesn't give you too much free time. I mean, you can make the time, of course. I don't have to tell you that, but when you're single, you have a lot of time. And if your goal is to find a relationship with someone, then you're already prepared because you have already been more acquainted with yourself. You found happiness. Finding happiness, that's an individual thing. It's not like, oh, I'm unhappy, then somebody will come along in my life and I'm going to all of a sudden be happy. It doesn't work that way. So look at being single as a good thing. Look at it as a good thing of becoming more acquainted with that person that you see in the mirror every day. It's the only way you're going to find happiness, because it's the best way to connect with yourself. And this idea that being single is bad and you're never going to find happiness while you're single, just throw that out the window. That's no good. You could be single and still be happy. Bottom line. So keep that in mind. You will find happiness. Who knows? If your goal is to have a relationship with someone, then hey, you're more than capable of attracting the right person in your life. But you got to be more acquainted with yourself first. Be satisfied with yourself. Be satisfied being single. And yes, you will find happiness that way. All right, so that's all I'm going to leave for you for this evening. And I want to thank you for watching this video. And until my next video, I want to wish you an awesome self-esteem. And I'll talk to you next time.